have the colors matching the spawn locations, but that's just because we got the text above indicating which player is on what Archon team. Spawning here in the top left corner of the map, they are actually leading the series 1-0. It's going to be Team Light Pink Archon, Zervas, and QueenE.
In the bottom right, as the Terran Red Archon, it's uThermal and Jona.
Now, Jona was actually on, was it Remax? It was one of those talk shows recently discussing a lot of his thoughts on Legacy of the Void, and I gotta say, I didn't necessarily agree with everything he said, but he had a lot of really well thought out points, which to me just says, okay, he tested the game in a lot of different aspects. He's got kind of a much more broader idea outside of his own race, and it was actually kind of pleasant listening to a lot of the I guess concerns, criticisms, whatever you want to call them, that he had brought up on the show.
I didn't catch a lot of it.
Well, there was nothing really worth quoting per se, but I'm just saying it'd be nice if we had a lot more folks who were doing that, where they're really looking at the game as a whole and not just going, "Yo, disruptors are fucking broken. Let's change them. Let's give them energy," or whatever silly suggestion is out there, right? Like,
yeah, I suppose there are a lot of like Team Liquid like strategy posts and a lot of people that are very interested in that type of discussion. Which is why whenever I hear like people on the shows talk about it, I know that they're just like barely scratching the surface, you know. Because, like, I try and read some of these posts that go into detail about the economy and, you know, the scan range and all that. And I'm just like, huh? Yeah, okay, in the game, it looks kind of cool. But that's what I got from it.
You're that person. You're just like, let's simplify this as much as we can.
Like, I think I got it, but I don't, like, I think, you know, if those guys could come on, then that would be really cool, but that would also possibly be a very, very boring talk show. But anyways, we do have a Reaper with a bunker.
Yeah.
Actually, get up.
Not sure if this was like a bait for an overreaction or if you actually plan to use this. It's a bit of an odd location, though. On one hand, it really limits the surround the links can get thanks to the mineral lines, but on the other, it's not really in range to cut off anything leaving the ramp. It's going to maybe deny some mining a little bit. By the way, I don't imagine it's going to go too far.
Well, it forced out a lot of lings for sure. Now these lings, 9 of them, I guess there were 10. With speed, they can be enough at first to deal with like Hellions, so it's not like they're always going to be useless, right?
Oh, but second Reaper gets here.
Second Reaper comes in. I think these Reapers can all take down the lings. No salvage? No salvage?
No salvage. 100 minerals in the hole.
Why? I thought the micro player was supposed to be good.
Wow, the very unnecessary be.
You know, I do wonder, you know, how everyone is approaching this. You think that 2 pro gamers on even skill level would be totally fine saying you're macro, I micro. But even then, I think there are some pro gamers that just feel more confident whenever they do whatever they want to. Plus, there are some situations as you get later on in the game where it's more like left side versus right side or top versus bottom.
Yeah, and you've got some of the things like when Huck was bringing up the points of playing Archon mode, obviously he didn't take it as seriously as some, but you know, even making jokes like, yo, don't I even see you fucking touching my units or whatever he said, right? Like it's
oh yeah,
there's not just ego but comfortability. Like, can you actually? It's so hard not to touch units. It really is. Like with Zombie and I play together, it's like everything in the world not to fiddle with the drones or take the queens and start doing injects or something, right? So for pro players who have been doing this for years, I imagine just like the motor muscle memory is probably one of the hardest things to get over.
Ooh, this Reaper's trying very hard to stay alive, but I guess the micro player has nothing else to work with.
No, not really. Scan did go down. What did he see? The main. So does see the Roach Horn on the way, but oh, 4 drones on this geyser. Not really anything too alarming from this, though. It's kind of past the time of that Ravager rush where you get caught completely screwed and you got nothing left. We saw Ravagers in the sort of mid-game last time, and that is something they're going to have to worry about, but I like the idea of having the Banshees out this time. Much more maneuverable. They're not slow. They're not going to get sniped off by the Corrosive Biles, and they'll be able to tear apart those Ravagers very quickly. Because, I mean, 120 health for a Ravager? Really not much.
Yeah, a Banshee, even without speed, you know, that comes later if, you know, ever. Even without speed, they're going to be able to dodge those Ravager shots, so they really just got to be worried about the usual things, the Spores and Queens.
Yeah, I gotta give a small note of a thank you to Corrupt Pancake, donates $5 and says, heard this King of the Hill is sponsored by the donators, so here's another $5 for the heart.
Oh.
Thank you very much, man. The, yeah, all the matches today are just coming out of pocket, guys. We want to just throw some stuff and have the celebration, but Zombie is owing and eyeing at the Nidus Worm. This feels kind of similar. I'm having some bad deja vu.
I know,
right
it
now.
feels like, yeah, exactly. Well, maybe Red Archon was paying attention. Probably weren't, I would say, just because they didn't comment on anything that we did, so. This might be a problem. It might be. Now remember, even if they see it, so apparently we saw it and we didn't react to it because we're so good at this game.
I didn't even see it, to be honest.
Even if they do see it, you can't really do anything. Like, the best thing you can do is surround it and just get the first couple of, like, key shots off. You can't actually kill it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, at the
So
same
it's
time,
done.
if you've got a big cluster of bios sitting around it, you'll be able to stim and tear down anything that comes out of it, because it does have to come out one at a time. However, and there we go, he's got to make sure he's got units here. Now, there's really not a lot to play with. They lost the Banshee. The Hellions are rushing back home. A new Banshee got made, I guess. The SCVs are pre-pulled. But, I mean, the other thing they changed with the Nidus Worm, and I don't know if it's documented or not, it doesn't bug out so bad when you're unloading as it used to. It doesn't get enough out, and the Queen's didn't transfuse fast enough, or she or he, whoever's in charge. But another Nidus Worm is coming out, so this one just kind of feels a little bit like bait.
But he lost all the queens. That's very key in defeating the Banshees, you know? Like, they're very, very important. And in fact, this one's not going to get up without being noticed. Maybe a couple of roaches. Okay, 2 more queens pop out.
Gotta get those transfusions down. Gotta keep that Nidus Worm up, get the roaches out. Lots of them are filing
that actually
out.
works.
Oh my god, there wasn't the SCVs to really help surround this. Now, there's no detection, right? So the Queens are eventually going to go down. The Banshees are going to be somewhat god mode when it comes to the defense, but morphing Ravagers in directly, driving off the mineral line. They're going to hold back, but if they do, they lose a lot of depots. They lose their engineering base. They lose their tech structures. This could get really bad really quick. It's not so bad right now. Oh my god, he actually hit the Banshee with the Ravager. Are you serious? That should never happen.
Yeah, I really shouldn't. Of course, I'm not really sure what you do in this situation is the micro and macro, you know? Like,
well,
so there might be some miscommunication.
Oh, maybe not. Hang on. As you say, maybe they've held not too poorly, but we got more roaches loaded up in that Nidus Worm, and another Nidus Worm coming in the main. The Banshees are doing such a great job, though. Seriously, without 2 Banshees, 1 Banshee alone even would struggle. Not going to work. They realize it's not worth it, and kind of give up on the venture. However, look at that worker count right now. 27 to 45. There is 25 SCVs dead. No big deal. So his attack, very expensive at the cost of Team Red Archon, or Light Archon, or Light Pink Archon. God damn it! But Team Red Archon doesn't exactly come out of this unscathed. However, I do feel comfortable with them having a 3rd CC. That this SCV deficit won't be what ends the game, not yet at least.
I still think it might be poor for Pink Archon. 25 SCVs killed is pretty much like on the brink of being what you needed to do with that attack, I would say. But I don't know, actually, because the fact that they're both mining out of their main and natural so quicker could really play a part in that. So
yeah, that's true. There's gonna be overlords. There's gonna be lings. There's gonna be like blocking out these thirds. They're not gonna be so easy to take. We do have the Banshee doing a bit of counterattack on the other side of the map, killing a couple of drones. Definitely the damage they need to do to try and even us up.
Yeah, that's most of the reason, honestly.
Oh,
like,
wow.
3CC is fantastic to have versus, you know, SCV losses like that.
Yo.
Okay, there's a lot of drones going down.
Double Banshees in the natural, and the 3rd one over here did get taken out, but still, they've gone from being very far behind in the workers to, well, making a huge lead. Up over 10, kills 30.
I mean, that's the biggest thing, in my opinion, is that, you know, by the time attacks like that happen, you have Banshees, hopefully they survive, you're on your way to medevac, so it's more like the time you have to return damage is so big and so strong, and that's why, you know, Terran can recover after all these big all-ins, not necessarily because, you know, mules are really good, although that certainly is true. And speaking of which, the Banshees did great damage, but now we have the push out as medevacs are finishing up upgrades. Not going to be quite well timed, but at least stim and combat shield to be done.
Yeah, and I mean, this... I'm just thinking, like, Team Pink just took too much... Like, I thought they weren't doing too bad. It wasn't great, wasn't amazing, it wasn't horrible either, but now they're in just such a weird spot, because Roaches... This much hasn't changed since Heart of the Swarm, right? Like, Roaches versus Stim Bio and Banshees, you're not going to have a good time.
I mean, it's kind of hard to see it unless you're expecting it. The Roach Burrow, and I do wonder if Red Archon is reminding each other that that could be a possibility. Looks like not. Otherwise, they would have put a missile turret in the natural here.
Well,
not the natural mineral line, but the natural supply depot. This is for the muted they're expecting following this up. I believe they scouted the Spire.
Yeah, you know, even... Yeah, here we go, the mutes into that natural. Even if they didn't kill the missile turrets, they're still guaranteed kills on top of the SCVs, so... Again, a bit of a worker trait this game. It's kind of funny to see, too, because a lot of Legacy of the Void matches we've been casting up to this point, Archon mode or otherwise, workers have been somewhat untouched in a lot of these games, and it's been army trading for army in very inefficient ways. But this is like the one game where the army kind of is relevant to each other's army, and just been going for the throat. They've been going for the SCVs.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, this is good for Pink Archon because you need time to buy, you know, they need to get gas, first of all. They're severely lacking on gas. for those banelings that they're trying to transition into, also in need of a fourth. They could afford that. I mean, they might want to, so because like the imbalance of banelings is already like there. That maybe if they lost a third and had a backup fourth, it would be better than just getting a ton of lings and 7 banelings, like only 7 banelings. I don't know.
Well, Mutas will try and catch that medevac. We'll have to unload. Not gonna
Yeah.
do too much here.
Where's the rest of the army? I know they had a bigger one. I guess it's mixed up everywhere in all 3 bases. They can't consolidate unless someone F2s.
What?
Well,
Who? F what now?
I didn't even know that button. I didn't even know that was a a key. Yeah.
All right, Medevac's gonna come here to the north. Drop gonna go off. There's not really that much to defend right now. Team Light Pink Archon, Team Zerg have been kind of stretched thin trying to defend. They had some cool counterattack there for a little bit, but that was most of their juice. Now that they're on the defense, I don't really know they can take these cost-effective trades. Without the banelings, without the proper economy, I mean, they're still sitting on 45 drones, and it's going to be really hard to play in this situation. Muta's getting picked off too. Nice focus fire out of what I assume is uThermal. I don't know if it's him or Jona showing the drops, but I mean, each of them could take a drop theoretically, just micro like crazy. Good focus fire on the banelings. Great focus fire on the banelings. That's going to push the drop out of the main.
That's one thing they have to give up too is centrifugal hooks.
Oh.
They do have a 4th base on the way, but only 41 drones. It's not really going to saturate 4 bases.
What's hang on, there's a roach here.
Our forces are
Oh, it's
under
changeling. Changeling. It's a red changeling. The red army. It's really well hidden. Medevac is gonna pick up. I mean, they're trying to take a 4th, right? And I don't think this is a bad move, but oh man, this is spread so far from the main. I feel, knowing uThermal the way we've seen him play, the second he starts going with multiple drops, that's when we see like the Maru thermal, as we tend to joke about, right? Like it's gonna be really hard to keep up with him.
Yeah, but the other alternative base is one that forces you closer to their attack path from their 3rd.
Yeah.
You know, Red Archon took a really wise 3rd, so kind of damned either way. But so far, dealing with the drops on the main side isn't too bad. Loses 1 muta micro to the back. It was nice. Yeah. But they are dipping. They're not dipping down in supply. They're just not getting anywhere with their supply. You know, like it's been stuck around 100 for a long time.
Oh, you know what? They don't have bailing speed. That's why they're having so much trouble getting involved with these fights. I didn't even, like, I think I do, but I just like realized, like, oh my god, watching that bailing waddle into a Widowmine and not get anywhere close to it. Ugh.
Something they had to give up. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they try to get upgrades, to be honest. You know, and another thing that could have definitely helped them, well, will help them when the game finally closes out, if Red Archon finally consolidates all of its army, is this creep spread. I think could have been a lot better to make up maybe for not having the baneling speed.
Normally, I nod my head when I'm agreeing with you, even though no one can see it, because I'm that kind of guy. And I'm now learning that nodding my head with this hat on is very difficult. Oh, these bailing hits though could have been a little bit better. SCV's still a little bit dangerous, yeah, because of the links there. But this is what I'm looking at here. This number here, 118 army supply to 53. This is not so crazy and common to see versus Zerg, but normally there's at least a ton of banelings waiting, and that's where you take that one really good engagement, that one really cost-effective trade, and maybe turn the game around. But sitting on 48 drones still, not able to build any drones for the last several minutes, has really just put them in a terrible spot to get banelings, to get the numbers they need. And the pre-split out of Team Red Archon is just, it's glorious, is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, they're on creep, you know? Like, if there was a chance to take the engagement, it would be now. You take out half of the army and you pull back, wait for the other part of the army to come on a creep. But they don't have speed on those banelings, so, like, not the same effectiveness as having speed and creep. Creep is starting to get cleaned up, too, although they're missing a ton of alive creep timbers.
Ooh, that one of my shots was pretty nice. Took out a lot of the legs. Banelings still without speed, even though they're on creep, still struggling to touch this army. The Mutila's count is thinned out pretty badly through this, and that army supply just continues to grow in difference. Drop in the main. This is starting to fall apart for Team Zervas and Team QueenE.
Yeah. Well, this game fell apart once it took so much damage from the Banshees. I mean, honestly, it might have not have been a good game even if they hadn't taken damage from the Banshees. That Nidus Form cost a lot, and it didn't kill them, you know, it did damage, sure, but, you know, maybe not enough. But the Banshee really solidified that they were going to win, Red Archon, that is.
Yeah, I kind of thought when we didn't see the Baneling speed upgrade for so long and there was not really a big investment, I thought maybe they were going to go Lurkers or something, but I guess this whole game's just been an example of not having any money to work with.
Ling's got a decent surround. Looks like they ran out of Widow Mines, so usually that'd be a really good opportunity to take an engagement. But speed not even done. It's like 5 seconds away from finishing. There we go.
Marines not even take the most cost-effective trades. Not that they really need to, though. They've killed all the important bases on the outlying side of the map. The main base was gutted. Ross, there's no mining going on over here. Thor and Marines just kind of pushing up slowly and surely. I guess if you're someone like uThermal who hates this matchup with a burning passion by getting your buddy like Jona to come keep you calm and talk you through the match, doesn't go so bad. So GG, ladies and gentlemen, game number 2 going to go to Team Red Archon. And that'll send us to Game 3, ace match of the series. We got a donation just now, by the way, from Milk and Cookies. What do we got here?